And good morning and welcome to your Friday edition of Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jacob from Payne. I'll present to you in mere moments yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture as vetted by you and curated by me into this little thing here. 8 stories, and we're going to talk about the picture, which is kind of hard to understand, but it's a picture of the search for Madeleine McCann, yes, still after all this time. That story plus 7 other stories. And we at the Conversation Project, and this particular project here, Things You Might Have Heard, want to make sure that you are getting the best in what we're calling a supplemental source of news. We give you both mainstream stories, big stories, and some stories that are way off the beaten path, so you get a real balanced diet of what's going on out there. We want you to be a part of the program by following us on our feeds and telling us what to do. We'll talk about that at the end of the actual headlines, but we're going to get into those in just a moment. Want to make sure you know that our main website is theconversationproject.com. We have a lot of big things going on for the weekend, getting stuff early, and it's a big holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend. We'll explain some of that as one of our top stories here coming forward. But we are going to be very proud of what they present for you. So make sure you check out our website and find ways to follow us on other places and other things so you don't miss out on all the love. Let's get into the real love for today. 8 stories vetted by you, curated by me here on This Morning. Today, of course, is Friday, May 26, 2023. Let's get into the news for this morning, shall we? Story number 1 reads like this, or at least the headline does. Madeleine McCann, search wraps up with slim chance of breakthrough seen. Police in Portugal wrapped up the latest search and effort for the 16-year hunt. Yes, for 16 years, we've been looking for Madeleine McCann, who disappeared in Portugal while her parents were on vacation. German authorities are helping the Portuguese crew search for McCann, who went missing during a family holiday back in 2007. They're also looking for anything that could help the investigation, such as clothing. At this point, 16 years on and just sort of being wild goose chased by this, seems like we will never have an actual ending, an actual finale to this story. We are definitely sad to hear that. Sending lots of love to the family of Madeleine McCann and all the people, even the people who were kind of grisly, true crime-ish on this, who have been following the story for 16 years. Our next story, New York City Banking Commission votes to freeze Capital One KeyBank deposits. Very little coming out from the robot editor, but this is what we have. The New York City Banking Commission voted to halt deposits into Capital One and KeyBank after the lenders failed to submit plans on their efforts to root out discrimination. The existing accounts will be used to make payments, but no additional deposits will be made. What's this mean? That means that they literally can't add deposits to these banks. So if you have a paycheck coming in and you have a Capital One or a KeyBank account, they're not going to take your deposit. You can't actually put money into your banking account, and you're going to have issues come pay time. Now, what's the hubbub about the whole discrimination thing? There is a big issue up in New York about banks and just how they actually act, which, is kind of good. But shutting off banks in situations like this, not so kind of good, kind of not good. So we will see how this gets resolved, hopefully soon, because being able to use your bank of choice is kind of one of those freedoms that we sort of, quote unquote, pun intended, bank on here in the States. Let's talk about the third story of the day, and this is a big one. Oath Keeper founder Stewart Rhodes sentenced to 18 years for seditious conspiracy in January 6. The Oath Keepers are essentially the main reason why the January 6 riots, January 6th insurrection, the whole big shebang happened and had a sense of legitimacy. They organized a lot of issues. They were there as more or less the security of the Centerville, and they did what they could to just disrupt everything in the process, including sort of egging on the people going into the Capitol to storm the building and try to stop the election from being certified, all that stuff that happened. Because he is the leader and maybe not have been on premises during that time, he still stoked the flames, and the judge really got into him, giving him 18 full years for conspiracy. Now, go deeper into the story by going to our website, looking at the story links, and reading deeper into detail if you did not get the gist of this one. But yes, Stewart Rhodes is going to jail for a while. 18 years, we'll see how that plays out, but he's going to jail for a while as a part of this. Right now, the biggest fish, because he is the biggest fish, we'll see how other folks are coming along as well. Actually, we'll talk about other folks, in the next couple of days, because we got a lot of stories for people who are finally getting their sentencing going forward. Right now, we're talking about a lawsuit that's close to home, real close to home, right here in my state where I live in Arkansas. And lawsuit claims Arkansas U.S. House map is racially motivated, limits black voters. Gerrymandering is something that's now basically the law, more or less, in cases for making new districts. And what we had here in Arkansas was the Republican lawmakers who control the House and Senate got a chance to draw up the newer districts after the census came out to so where people are. So a lawsuit was filed against the state's 221 congressional district map, claiming that the 41,000 residents in Pulaski County, where I actually live, were moved out of the district and replaced by approximately 25,000 people from a predominantly white county. Literally taking more people out of one county and putting in people, shifting people off another county to change the makeup of that voting district from kind of black to mostly white. This is a district that is run, if you will, by U.S. Congressman French Hill, who I have no problem with. But back in 2020, he ran against State Senator Joyce Elliott, a black woman who I actually personally know and see at church every week, in the case where she lost the election because it was deemed that the map was made to, foster more folks towards the one side than the other. If you're not catching what I'm tossing your way, check out the link, read the story, see if this is a big deal. Now, like I said, this is a big deal personally because I actually had some skin in the game because it's my vote, literally, and because of my background in news and covering some of these people in real time. I actually have spoken to Senator Elliott and Congressman French Hill as my time doing radio news daily. And so I have relationships with them professionally. Like I say, Senator Elliott just happens to go to my church is out of a fluke, so I see her fairly often. See French Hill fairly often as well, oddly enough. This is a deal that may be a bigger thing, and maybe in your neck of the woods where your state has had some gerrymandered districts. Check out the story and see how it's working here. We'll see how the vote goes or how the lawsuit goes and whether it's going to change anything. It's not, but we'll see. You can see how it plays out here on a legal sense and maybe have some hope or some fears for a district near you. The Washington Commanders may have to change their name again. What? The Washington Commanders may undergo yet another name change after going from Redskins to football team before adopting current name. But the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has rejected their trademark application for the Commanders name. The Commanders Classic is a college football game played between the Army and Air Force every year. Oh yeah, that thing. Martin McCauley is trying to squat on the name, but the NFL team could fight this one for a long time and matter. We will see whether the Commanders or the football team or the former Redskins will get a chance to continue to be the Commanders based off the Commanders Cup. I think it's kind of a fluke, but we will see how this one plays out. Essentially, if it's a trademark thing, you can, kind of poke those things for quite some time if you play it right. Let's go to this story, extremely sad story, and this is one that you got to really go deeper into to really understand. Woman dies trying to hike Grand Canyon Trail to Colorado River and back in one day, Park says. The Bright Angel Trail is a popular trail in the Grand Canyons, but it is steep and difficult, and rangers warn hikers to be prepared for excessive hot days, advise against hiking in the inner canyon between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., which is the brightest part of the sun, as many heat-related illnesses happen there. A woman trying to hike in that various time essentially died of the heat and because she could not handle the back and forth in a full day's time. Now, the temperature in Arizona can be deceiving and deadly. Of course, the whole dry heat thing. Proper clothing, proper shoes, proper wearing a hat and sunscreen, and hydrating before, during, and at the end of these walks are important. So as you begin your summer activity today, if I play my cards right, I plan on doing some hiking sometime this weekend, maybe it's this afternoon in one of our state parks at Pinnacle Mountain. And it's a hot, high walk up that mountain as well. Hydration is going to be very important. Now that I'm back to more or less normal, feeling better after my stay in the hospital, I'm trying to get out there and push that a little bit and see what I can do with that. A hat and hydration especially important. Same for you out there as well. Regal parent Cineworld expects to exit Chapter 11 in July. Regal's parent, Cineworld, the movie company, is going to get out of Chapter 11 in a few months. That's a good thing. However, if you're following the stock, owner of the stock as I do, we were holding on to the stock because we believe that it was going to be bought out by somebody else and essentially make some money off of it. Stock's still doing very poorly, but if the company can find its way out of Chapter 11 protection, that means it should be doing well. Movies are doing okay now. Even though movie theaters are still shutting down, there's still not a lot of demand for so many movies and so many seats, but the demand for going back to a theater is coming back for the spectacle of it all. Cineworld and Regal are trying to do their best to maintain that, and we'll see how it happens going forward. We plan on watching, the family that is, plan on watching a lot of movies this summer to kind of get over some of our stress we've had in the last couple of months, and we're going to get some stuff. Also trying to convince my wife to go back to our movie-related podcast. We'll see how that goes as well. But right now, good news for Cineworld and Regal as a movie through the chain. Not so great news for my stock, I don't think, because I don't think we're going to get anything extra unless it gets bought out. And finally, let's wrap up with this one and kind of understand the reason for the season, if you will. American flags placed at 260,000 headstones in Arlington ceremony. On Monday, we will celebrate Memorial Day, the official holiday for Memorial Day and the unofficial start to summer, if you will. So pools are open, barbecues are happening, some fireworks in some places. Memorial Day is the day we celebrate and honor those who perished in wars for us. Essentially, the people who died in the wars are what we do. Now, as a veteran, there'll be a lot of people thanking me for my service on that day because it happens, and it's okay. You should, thank a veteran for the service for what they did. But this one is not for celebrating the folks who lived and the folks who served through things. This is for the folks who actually died in the cause to maintain our fragility as Americans, if you will, at this point in time. We are fighting so many things with each other that sometimes it's a wonder that people put their lives up and, went to war literally for us to survive these things. Take a little time to remember that. A barbecue is fine. Some fireworks is fine. Go to the pool. That is all great. Enjoy your time off. But take a little bit of time to watch some sort of patriotic ceremony or just be there for a flag raising or go to a cemetery and do some cleanup work. Get out there and show that you have the respect for those who have served and those who paid the ultimate price. They literally paid all for us. Let's talk about a story we could talk about come Monday. Now, Monday, we're going to give you 10 stories from the weekend, starting from this morning at 12 midnight all the way through about 4 a.m. on Monday, because we cut it off about 4 a.m. And you can do that. Tell us what to talk about in those stories by going to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/ThisIsAConversationProject and Twitter.com/TH_conversation. What you get from those websites and those feeds are news stories that we post every 20 minutes or 50 minutes or so across the vast internets. Enjoy them, read them, learn some stuff in real time, more or less, and engage in the stories to tell me what stories are the most interesting, the most engaging, the most conversational. We could talk about this one if you deem it necessary. Women accused of breaking into restaurant to make salad, ruining $500 worth of food items. You want to know more about this? Check it out. Go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. See what it's all about. And if you think this is one we should be talking about Monday morning, we'll pick 10 of the top 30 stories to get you in for that update. Just give us some likes, give us some ha-has, give us some hate if you want to, and share it with some folks. More engagement means better chance of chatting it up come Monday. Now, let's talk about our sponsors, if you will. If you go to our main website and click on the sponsors page, you can find out more about them and find ways that they can take care of you. And all our sponsors we list here are affiliate links, so we get a cut back when you visit them. They aren't just flat out paid sponsors. They are affiliates from the sale of what they give. This one right here is actually not much of a sell because they're not really making much bank off you, but they're trying to get you in a pipeline. This is more of a funnel, to be honest. I Heart RVing, or I Love Heart RVing, is found for us at thisisaconversationproject.com/RV. And what do you get from I Heart RVing? Information on RVing. That's it. It is a site that will gives you information on how to get an RV, what to do in RVs, how to love and take care of RVs, and the places to, if you don't want to commit to a full-time, rent and borrow RVs for the summer. Camping is a grand experience for all, and summertime is hot. So when you're out there in the heat, something you can plug up to an outlet and run some air conditioning is not a bad thing. Get an RV, take the comforts of home with you out to the woods and have some fun. One day soon, I have to take my family out on a camping trip, and we're going to, obviously take an RV because my ladies don't do laying on the ground and staying in the heat all that well. So it will be some sort of RV camping experience, or maybe a cabin. We'll see how that goes. But RVing is a great way to see America, or maybe other places. They have RVs there as well. Check out iHeart RVing via our link at thisisaconversationproject.com/RV and grow with the RV culture. Now let's talk about the Conversation Project. The Conversation Project lives at thisisaconversationproject.com. What do you find the Conversation Project? You find this thing here, which if you're watching it is sort of meta, but this video being recorded live as I speak it currently at 7 after 6 on this Friday morning. It's put into a replay on video on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter as it sits there forever. And we chop it up, trim it up, do a little audio conversion and make it an audio podcast to come out somewhere around 6:20, 6:25 in the morning. We also have, for the weekend, other programs. We expand the conversation to other things, including the weekly wrap-up, which I will give you the top 10 stories per pure number. So only, no curation, no manipulating things, no saying, hey, this one's more funnier than this one. This is top 10 stories for reals based on your actual engagement. And from those top 10 stories, you pick one story and we expound on it, and we call that the story of the week. Those will happen for this weekend. If you don't want to see me or hear me do this yak, but like the news we're providing, check out our podcast. Check out our newsletter and find links to sign up for that, where you get the newsletter about 6:20 every morning, which is the links to all the stories, plus the bulk of the fun stuff as well, without me having to talk to you. There are links to the video and audio as well, but you don't have to. You can ignore those because you get the meat of the stuff right there. If you deem what we're doing kind of cool, if you think we're giving great content, if you think we're doing a good service for folks, help a brother out. Help the folks out around here and help me literally help other folks so I can hire more staff and get this thing as a larger project. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/partnerships and see if there's a way that you'd like to partner up with us to grow and expand. You can also, of course, stop by the sponsors page and just visit some sponsors, buy things from them, and we get something here. But if you want to directly fund what's going on and have a real say, press my buttons for real, you can do that. Of course, follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter, and then you always press my buttons because you tell me exactly what to say there. But check us out. Check out our website, see what we have all going on, and we thank you so much in advance for all that you're doing for us. Now it is time to have some fun. We're going to go to the fun stuff, which starts off with birthdays for this May the 26th here in 2023. Happy birthday to Stevie Nicks, who the sultry voice from Fleetwood Mac and her own personal stuff, hitting 75 years old today. And we got birthday twins. What do you know? Birthday twins for the day happen to be Ricardo Tubbs and Foxy Brown. Excuse me. Who actual real names are Philip Michael Thomas, famous from Miami Vice fame, and Pam Grier. Foxy Brown, Jackie Brown, Brown. Pam Grier, maybe not quite Pam Brown, doing all those great things, both hitting 74 on the day. Happy birthday to all those great folks on this day. Let's talk about today in history. What went down on the 25th of May, way back, going way back to 1896. Speaking of stocks, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was first published today. Average price of the 11 initial stocks, only 11 on the stock exchange, had a chalkboard, all that stuff, was only $40.94. Currently, the exchange is up to in the hundreds, and it fluctuates back and forth. Our world economy goes round on the Dow Jones Stock Exchange, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and it's a big deal. Back then, still a big deal, much smaller in its scale though. In 1969, Apollo 10 returned to Earth after a mission that served as a dress rehearsal for the first moon landing. Congratulations on us for hitting that one, and then, of course, scripting the moon landing and doing it in a soundstage. No, I don't believe that, but many people do. And speaking of Memorial Day, speaking of just days that, tragic days that stay with you literally forever, if you were alive during this time, you remember and you know where you were when you heard the news of this. Terry Nichols found guilty on this day of 161 state murder charges for helping carry out the Oklahoma City bombing. He later received 161 consecutive life sentences. And from my standpoint, good for him for getting all that time. Today, we're going to celebrate Paper Airplane Day. So have some fun with paper airplanes. On this May 26th, get out a sheet of paper wherever you are. If you're working today, get a sheet of paper out of the copy machine. If you're not working today, get some scratch paper on the house and fold a paper airplane and just toss it around for a little bit. Have some fun. Get your coworkers involved. Have some races. Have some fun. It's Paper Airplane Day. We've been through way too much this year. And so as we prepare to get into the third quarter of the year, literally in days, and maybe not have a country because of the debt ceiling, let's have some fun as we walk up to that with Paper Airplane Day. You deserved it. You earned it. Finally, one more thing you might not have heard. Restaurants are witnessing a decline in the popularity of QR code menus, as indicated by Must Have Menus, a menu management software. Between April 1st and May 16th, the total number of menus scanned decreased by 27% compared to the same period in 2001. Approximately 75% of the QR codes remain inactive, receiving fewer than 90 views per year. And half of the QR menus received less than 5 clicks annually. However, one aspect of QR menus that continues to thrive is dynamic menus, which enables customers to order and pay directly from their mobile phones. So your app that you pay, that you hit up and that you do for your mobile orders, those things are pretty much on the rise because more people are using their apps and things like that, menus, to basically pay for the food and not talk to people. However, showing up at the restaurant and scanning the code instead of asking for a menu, people apparently are back to wanting to touch the menu, which were probably just as gross before COVID as they are now, but it's, back to normality. And back to normality of the day, ending this day of this program, Friday, May 26, 2023. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Things You Might Have Heard. We are so glad to have you with us. Glad to have this time together. Glad to be with you as you said, wrapping up month 5, quarter number 2, and preparing for what may happen. Next week, I'm sure we'll chat up the debt ceiling. Next week, I'm sure we'll chat up Donald Trump. Next week, I'm sure we'll chat up more election stuff and people jumping in and jumping out and dropping all over the place. But for right now, we've got a whole weekend of stories to post. We need you to keep an eye on our feed so you know what it is you want to chat about, because you're going to tell me directly. Follow us on those feeds on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/thisisconversationproject and twitter.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes, new story. Let us know what you think about it, and let us know what you think about what's going on. Email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Email me at jclevelandpayne@gmail.com. Stay hydrated, limber, and on task for all the grand things you are here to do. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate a veteran if you can. Remember those who may have passed. If you know someone who passed, if you have an uncle, a friend, an aunt, someone who passed, who fought in some conflict, now's the time to give them a little bit of remembrance and just sort of enjoy it. But also enjoy your day. Enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend. We're going to do this again come Monday.